we don't want to just leave it up to chance and just, okay, parents, come on in, or we could just do, it needs to be purposeful. And I'm thinking if we think very purposefully about the relationship between the adults in the school and the adults at home, the parents and community, and do purposeful things, it can help greatly. More parent involvement just are doing better. Those that have less parent involvement are not.
Welcome to the School Climate and Culture Show. Hosted by Steve, a passionate advocate of positive school climate and culture, together with Megan Deedy. Join us as we explore strategies, share success stories, and provide actionable tips to improve the culture and climate in your school.
Hey everybody, we are back once again. My name is Steve Bowler, also known as Stand Tall Steve.
And I am Meg Deedy. How's it going, Steve?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. We're back again for the School Climate and Culture Show. How's things going? You've had students for now a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. We're it's going. We're about 3 weeks in, and it's going good. It's going good.
It's hot to try.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I wrapped up the back end of the Stand Tall Summer Tour. 18 different locations. Woo! And that's from the end of June all the way until the beginning of September.
Yeah.
18 different spots. Now, I didn't speak at every single one of them. Some of them I was attending, like the NSA conference, but still, oh no, I did speak there. I did a stand-up comedy thing and all that.
You did.
So I did. I actually spoke at every one of these spots.
Every single one. That's awesome.
Every single one. Yeah. So that was a lot. So at the end of September, I signed up to go on a retreat, a men's retreat in Wyoming, but unfortunately it got canceled. So now I'm just doing like a long weekend in the Poconos by myself, just kind of get away, rezone in, refocus, that kind of thing. I think that's important to do.
Absolutely. That's self-care piece.
That's self-care piece. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're not here to talk about self-care and all that. We do have an episode for you guys. So Meg, what's our topic?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this one and a little nervous because I'm not sure if I know all the answers for you, but it is purposeful parenting.
Yeah, purposeful parenting. And I'm glad you said that because I may not have all the answers either, gang. But the reason why we picked purposeful parenting and we called it this because we know as it relates to climate and culture, parents, right, families. Now, when I say parenting, it could be mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, uncle, whoever's in charge of the child, right? K through 12. But they're a major part of the culture and climate of your classroom, of your school, of your district. And when I say purposeful parenting, we got that title because we don't want to just leave it up to chance and just, okay, parents, come on in, or we could just do, it needs to be purposeful. And I'm thinking if we think very purposefully about the relationship between the adults in the school and the adults at home, the parents and community, and do purposeful things, it can help greatly. I just had a conversation with someone who's actually interested in within our ranks, our training, and he was talking about how he's been in multiple different schools, and he's noticed the schools that have a lot of more parent involvement just are doing better. Those that have less parent involvement are not, and to whatever degree that might be. So what thoughts go through your mind, Meg, when I say we say purposeful parenting, getting that parent connection, being a teacher in the classroom?
Right. And I think being purposeful with your parents goes beyond just your class dojo, your remind, your communication that way. You start thinking about how can I make that bridge between myself and the parents at home with that child, because it really does take a village to raise a child and to give them all that they need. And how can we build that relationship together starting from day one, that we can make that purposeful parenting together almost with classroom and at home.
Yeah. And it has to be that way. And I get it. There are times that we talk about work with the parent, and as soon as you say that, you get nervous because, you got all these different parents, they're coming in and you don't know what they're saying. Are they going to be happy with you? They're not going to be happy with you. And there seems to be a culture throughout the country, the US now, where it's almost okay for parents to kind of go off on teachers, to yell at teachers, to do whatever you have to get what you want. And that's what we want to prevent. We don't want that necessarily to happen, but we still know that there needs to be a connection in some way. So I want to dive to different ideas. What's going through your head? You're thinking something, Meg.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think of, like, when you have those hard parents, you're nervous. It's like open house. You're like, what am I going to run into? Are they going to be happy that they're here? It has maybe nothing to do with you as a classroom teacher, but it's instant how you have your classroom set up or what, and so how do you kind of make it relax so you are approachable, as a classroom teacher, and that it's not something that you're immediately feeling attacked. So,
right. Oh, you just reminded me. I did an article years ago on back to school night, on the ways to increase the probability of success for back to school night. All right. Now, let me see if I can remember. Number one. All right. So here's some ideas. This is that purposeful parenting. Remember, back to school night is first impressions.
yes.
Right. For even if they've heard of you before as an educator, back to school night is first impressions. So number one thing that I think that all teachers need to do is, especially if you're at the middle and the high school level, at the elementary, parents are going to show up, right? They're coming. But the middle and high school reason, they may not. Give them a reason to come. Give them a reason to come to your room, to come to back to school night. What I used to do as an art teacher is I would start a story about myself with each of my classes. I would tell them some story about me when I was a paper boy, when I was a kid. And I didn't give the answer. I didn't give the ending to the story. I told all the kids, if you want to find out the ending to the story, your parents have to come to back to school night and I will tell them the ending of the story.
There it is.
I know it was a trick, but they came. And I had parents walk in, and nobody comes to the art room. I'll be honest with you. No, they don't. But it was packed in my art room. They were like, all right, what's the end of this story? So I told I had to come to this story, but they came. And before they got the end of the story, I went through all the information, things that they needed. So the first thing is find a way, if you have to give them a reason to come. Second thing is, for back to school night, stand in the hallway. Like when the parents are coming, don't stand in the classroom. Because you know what happens if you stand in the classroom. They're going to corner you somewhere. And next thing you know, you got a parent-teacher conference. So I always told, stand in the hallway, shake hands. Shake hands in the hallway, guide them into the room, and therefore if you get cornered, or in the hallway, now you have another teacher out in the hallway who can come and save you, right? You don't want that.
You give them the eyes.
What's that?
You give them the eyes.
Give them the eyes. Yes, give them the eyes. Yeah, help. Help. Third thing was, give them something in hand, like a handout. Give the parents some kind of, they love handouts. They feel like they're, oh, yes, thank you. Now, I know some of the teachers, you're like, oh, everything's online. If you just go here. No, I don't care. Print something out, even if it's a half page of basic information. They want something give them something in hand. Remember, good first impression. They feel good when they have something in hand. Print something out, give it to them. You know who really loves stuff in hand? Dads. Like if the dads show up, they roll it up, they put it in their pocket, they point to their friends with it, they tap it, they give it to their wife, they take it back. I'm a guy, I'm a dad. I love something. Give me something in my hand. I love that stuff, right? And then I think the last one is, have a sign-in sheet. Even if you don't need a sign-in sheet, do a sign-in sheet. They love to have a sign-in sheet. They feel like they're important because they have a sign-in sheet. Do a sign-in sheet. They want it. And then the last thing is practice. Practice what you're going to say. Practice, practice, practice. So many times you think, oh, I got it. And no, especially if it's like a middle or high school where you have to, you got like 5 to 10 minutes and you have to go to the next class and, departmentalize. Nothing's more annoying to a parent than if you're up there talking too long and they can't get to their next scheduled thing that they have to move to because they don't know where they're going, right? If anything, finish a minute earlier and then help them find where it is they need to go. First impressions.
I love that.
What do you think?
I love that. Here's one to add to it, to get them to come, is we do a scavenger hunt around the building. So you can make that into junior high, high school. You could totally make that a thing. And then the prize at the end, food always goes over well. Cookies, stickers, keychains. you know, so they have to go to certain parts, which then the art room, the PE room, all those places are a place that you have to check in with before you leave.
It reminds me very much when you say that of like when we're at conferences, you and I would do conferences all the time, and we have tables in the vendor area. And as people come by, they want you to sign off, like, or to give a stamp. And if you do that, you go into a drawing to win something. So scavenger hunt it around your school, have them sign off, or it goes into a drawing, and then you can win something at the end. Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be something, right?
You could like get books. You could, you know,
Books.
Scholastic order, give them a free book, you know.
Elastic order. That's it. There you go. That's good. Well, okay. So we talked about the beginning of the school year. You're back to school night, but I want to get a little deeper with this as it relates to having an environment where parents feel like it's okay to be at the school.
Mhm.
Educators feel a little better inviting them to the school and wanting them around. Because a lot of times we say we want parent involvement, but then when we get parent involvement, we get all annoyed that the parents are there. And I don't think that's fair at
Right.
all. And I think part of that has to come through what the school is doing purposely in order to develop those relationships.
So what does that look like as an administrator or a principal? How do you set the tone for that as your school?
Yeah. So as an administrator, from an administrator standpoint, okay, it's not just about sending out information regularly, which you should do, because that's one thing as an administrator, you need to make sure that the communication is going out to the parents so that they know what's going on at the school, what's happening at the school, all those things, so that the parents now feel more comfortable about what's happening at the school. Because that's another thing. Some parents had bad experiences when they were growing up at school, so therefore they're already feeling some kind of way coming to the school. So the more positive and friendly you are sending information out about the school, the better. One of the things that I did, I had my monthly newsletter that was sent home each month. In the newsletter, usually there's a little section in the front where the administrator writes something, right?
Mhm.
They put a little, and usually administrators just write basically what's happening at the school. But then why read the rest of the newsletter if you just wrote everything in your part? I never got that. So in my section, I would write about me. I would say, hey, these are the movies that I like to, these are my top educational movies. Hey, this is what I've got coming up, you know, in the upcoming weekend. I'm taking my son camping, and I hate camping, but I got to pretend that I love camping. I mean, I would say, you know, oh, some wonderful things that were happening at the school. Let me highlight a few of the teachers and stuff like that. I want them to think that they are, oh, the leader of the school is a real person. He kind of gets it. He understands. The purpose isn't, I mean, yes, it is to give them information about what's going on in the school, but it's also about making them feel comfortable with the people that are in the school. What can you say about the teachers, the staff, yourself in the school that makes them seem more human, not just a teacher, not just a custodian, not just a support person, but these are human people that they now feel connected to, whether it's real or not, and it increases them wanting to come into the school. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. What about what a Facebook group or something of that you can post different things about your school happenings, or things coming in that parents can see, teachers that are doing different things in the building around the community, you know, so
Yeah.
that they have
Well,
like that kind of thing.
well, here's the thing. A lot of a lot of schools, just look about that, they're nervous about Facebook groups, all right? Because there's some hidden Facebook groups that are going on out there on the parent end saying whatever they want to say. So if you do have a Facebook group or you're putting something out there on Facebook about your school, about your district, it needs to be purposeful, number one, very purposeful in what it needs to be saying. It needs to be positive as well, right? Keep it positive. If negative stuff has to happen, because negative stuff sometimes happen, and you need to inform the community about it, never, ever, 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 ever put it in a Facebook group. You say, if you want information about this, here's the link to go to get to it. You need to keep the environment within that Facebook group outrageously positive.
Yes.
You put a link saying, hey, if you want more information, here's the letter from the principal. Go to this website, the school website, to get that. Go there to get it. You can inform them that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Got to keep that sacred.
You definitely have to have more involvement with that. You have to have someone that's always on top of it, that's posting positive things and watching the comments or turning the comments off, you know, but it's still another avenue. Technology is very big right now that you can get parents' involvement and at least them figuring out what's going on in your building or in your classroom.
Definitely, definitely. Another thing that I think at the classroom level, to really make parents feel comfortable in communicating with the teacher at that level, is something that I did called header footer in my schools. It was called header footer. So any piece of paper that the teacher creates, right? You created it on your own. And I get it, a lot of stuff is electronic now, but let's say that there's any paper that you create, either in the header or the footer of that paper, you must have your name, school phone number, your extension, your email. Like if you put in an email, your little, signature tagline, this is how to get a hold of me. The same thing needs to go on a piece of paper that goes home.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is, let's say that little Stevie is home, you got a problem with some math or whatever it is that they're doing, the parent doesn't know what to do, they can pick up any piece of paper that has been sent home from the school and see on the bottom how to get hold of the teacher and when is the best time to get a hold of them. Because that's the other piece on there. When is the best time to get a hold of you? Because otherwise you play phone tag and that's annoying.
Yes.
That's good feelings, I would think.
I like that. I like that. Let's take it a step further. So I was thinking back to, when you were saying that the people in the building were human too, showing them like our human side, if you will, that we're more just a classroom teacher, we're more than a principal. And, I think sometimes if we can kind of level that playing field, that parents aren't feeling nervous coming in and we're not nervous about the parents coming in because we don't know where they're coming from. So having that, relationship built. So bringing your parents in for different things throughout the month. Maybe you have a mystery reader, that's kind of an old school tactic to bring them back in. Or you have a volunteer, they want to come in and talk about what profession that they're doing or what jobs there are out there. You're thinking about cultural day or heritage day, just some of those things that they have some type of ownership and that they could bring something into your classroom. So you're kind of leveling the playing field almost. So it's like a more mutual, purposeful parenting with your child.
Exactly. Yes. And I think even and that's very strong at the elementary level. Middle and high school, it's not impossible. Now I get it, especially at the high school level, you're dealing with content. You got to get your content, in. But even at that, if there's any way that you can blend, hey, any of you students, your parent, this is a class on business and, business class. Any of your parents into that? Yes. What do they do? Yes. Would they be willing to zoom in, even do a zoom in, talk about what it is they do and how they do it a little bit so you can get the real world application connection to it. And here's the thing. When you do those things, there should be a little bit of marketing from the school side, the teacher side, saying, hey, we just had Mrs. Johnson in who talked about what it is that she did in the school. That's awesome. In her job. We want to thank you so much for that. Now, what ends up happening there? Number one, all the other parents know, oh, wait, they bring parents in. Two, oh, wow, I know who she is. If she's comfortable doing it, I may be comfortable more with the school. Three, you get to share information about what you do with the other one. And I get it. The high school kids are going to be embarrassed. I can't believe my mom and dad are here. But I don't care. Do it.
They like it.
They like it.
They want that.
They want that.
One year in second grade, our content is community helpers. What do you do around our community? And so we did this huge project. And we invited different people from our community, even parents outside of our classrooms, and they got to interview those different people, ask them questions, talk about their job, bring in the cool stuff that they use, whether it's a firefighter, a dentist, or a nurse. And then after their huge research project, we had a community night. And the students set up all of their learning. They had, like the big poster boards and their tech piece. And we invited our community members in with our parents as well. So the parents came, the students were showcasing their learning. We had police officers show up and firefighters show up. And so it was this huge community thing that kind of like bridged our parents and our school and our community together. So anyway,
that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
That sounds exciting. That sounds
they
wonderful.
even put it in our newspaper. So that was really cool.
Boom, got in the paper. I'm all about I'll tell you what, I would throw in something to the paper all the time at my school. They almost got sick of me. I would always, I would tell my my advanced English class, I'm like, could you do a press release for me? They wrote so many daggone press releases. Those little sixth graders, they knew how to do a press release. Because I was like, do another one, do another one, do another one, do another one. We threw them out all the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
them in
it's
there. Well, okay. Well, let's look a little different here. Let's talk about some of the things that may be going on at home with the kids. All right. They may not be getting the support that they need at home. They may be showcasing certain behaviors at home, and therefore now they're bringing it to school. And now we have some issues, problems, and concerns. All right. Because everything that we talked about now was just, hey, let's develop that good relationship, that kind of thing. But then there's the situations where it becomes tough. All right.
Yeah.
You're seeing behavior issues, you're seeing all kinds of different things, and trying to bridge that gap. And I'm sure you've seen that, or you've experienced that, or you understand what that's about. And that could be difficult.
I think right now in our world, I think that's the toughest part is the behaviors are coming in. Maybe they're kind of products of their environment at home, meaning, you know, whatever's going on at home is kind of filtering into at school. And honestly, Steve, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about how do you build up that relationship when the parents don't want to be involved, or they maybe do, but you don't know how to reach them. They don't stay connected with you in the classroom, and their child is struggling and they don't want to talk about it because they know that that's the problem.
Yeah. And here's the thing also, it's like you have different levels of parents. You have some parents, it's like, you know what? Their mindset is take my kid during the day so I can do these 4 jobs that I have.
Yep.
It's no fault against them. Some of them are just trying to survive. Now, granted, there are some that just have bad parenting, right? There's some that just don't care. But then there are some that are just like, you know what? Leave me alone during the day. I'm trying to survive so we can have food on the table, or we can just make it day to day. And that's just what it is. So what I found, it's a little underhanded, but it's also a good thing. All right. So stay with me with this one. You want to get a hold of a parent. You got to say something to them. Sending a note home, most of the time, doesn't get there. But what if it's a good note? If it's a good note, oh yeah. So find something good, even if it's air quotes, that kid, right? Jacking things up. Maybe the kid did something right. All right. They went from an F to a D. All right. On a paper or something like that. Hey, Stevie, I got a note here for your parents telling you how you've improved. I guarantee you that note's going to get home. All right. Now, when that note gets home, so in that note, it says, please contact me to learn the details of the growth. So now they're going to contact you. Hey, now it's not guaranteed that they will, but it increases the probability that they will. And when they contact you, hey, got the note. He was real excited. He had growth. They told me to contact you to find out how it got better. Yes. And then you tell them what it is got better. And I could use your help with XYZ. What does your schedule look like? We'd like for you to come in so we could talk about the evaluation process or something like that. But the goal is lead with honey, you know, something sweet. Does that make sense?
Yes. And how simple. I mean, we talked about how in our previous episodes about students bringing home those happy notes and building that climate culture in your classroom. But then to add that simple piece at the end, hey, if you want to learn more about, you know, let's talk about how awesome this was. So
there you go. Oh, I would love to discuss this more. Please reach out to me at this number and extension to find out more. It's not enough to put on this note. Yes. Oh, okay. Well, then maybe we'll do that. And then it's not a bait and switch. It is not. You are going to talk about the good, but then we're going to talk about what else we need to talk about as well. Those kinds of things as well. So that's a way that you can kind of do that. Now, the other thing is, like you said, there may be values and things that are happening at home, and they're carrying those values that are into the classroom, and it's causing some issue or problems, especially when you have some kids like, well, my mom said X, Y, da, 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 da. Well, my dad said I don't have to this, that, and the other. Well, I said, okay, I understand that. You are not at home anymore. You are here, and this is what we have here. Your teacher says this, and I get it. They're going to go home and tell parent. They're going to come in head switching and everything else like that. But you need to start having those conversations with them, and you have to start explaining, when you come through the threshold of this door, this is the way that it works. I've always said before, the power is in the repetition. You say it again. You say it again. You showcase it again, you say it again, and you showcase it again. And the goal is to reduce, not eliminate. You're not going to eliminate the issue, problems, and concerns and the behaviors, but you can reduce it. You can reduce it.
I'm thinking too, you know, parents, with all the things changing and, you know, do you remember when they're like, oh, we're teaching Common Core math? Are you teaching Common Core math? You know, or just like, what are you teaching in your classroom? And so we send home newsletters, just recaps of like, this is what we're moving into. What are your ideas and thoughts about that? Do you have any experience with that? And you know, and you're right, repetition is huge with that. So just continue to send home information, continue to send home positive things, and eventually those parents will feel, you know, more invited, and then hopefully they can start making that communication with you.
And you want to hope that they're reading it, because that's another thing I've noticed. People don't read anything. Like you send stuff home and they're not reading it.
Bright colored paper.
Yeah, colored
That
paper
helps.
work.
Don't put it on white.
Sometimes what I would do is I would bold the stuff, like let's say it's a few sentences, whatever, I'd bold the most important thing in that sentence. Yes. So if they read nothing else, read just this, right? Do little tricky things like that for them to catch their eye. Just, oh, that's the most important thing right there. Okay, we need to do that. Put bullets, whatever we need to do to get them to see that. But ultimately, that's what it is. And here's the other last little thing. This is more for the administrators. When you do have a group of parents together, all right, let's say PTA, PTO meeting, parent event, concert, back to school night, maybe you have everybody come together first before you send them to the classrooms. I don't know. Whatever you have anyone together, it is the job, I feel, of the administrator, whoever the leader is of that, to reinforce what you respect and value. Say it again. Don't assume that it's understood. Don't assume that they get it. Don't think that they've heard it too many times. Whenever you have a captive audience of community members, even if you have to write out a set statement that talks about what you respect and value in that school, you do it. Yet again and again and again and again and again, right? So that it gets reinforced, it gets strengthened to the community, to the parents, so that they understand this is who we are, this is what we're about. Yeah.
Good.
Oh, why am I out of breath?
You had to share a lot this time. This was a good one. I think it's such a hot topic right now in education. So I think it's good to bring it to light. And I would be interested to hear what some of our followers have to say about how they have parent involvement in your building, in your classroom, that purposeful parenting.
That purposeful parenting, that purposeful connection. Yeah, I would love to hear other ideas, other ways of making that happen. I know in my book, Ideas, I was going to have a section that dealt just with community and parents, and I didn't put it in there. So if I ever do another Ideas book, I might look to do that, because I do have a bunch of ideas as it relates to that could really help. So
that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one.
Yeah,
well, you got to check out the blog that goes along with this video, because I'm sure you're going to have some more ideas in there that we can help bring those purposeful parenting ideas together.
Yeah, exactly. And just keep in mind, for those of you that, maybe you're listening to this, you don't know. Yeah, we have a blog that goes along exactly with this. And then we have a YouTube that goes along with it as well. So you can see it, you can hear it, and you can read it.
Yes.
We got you covered here again.
All of it.
We got you covered. All the different things. All the different things. All right. Woo. So what's coming up soon? We have Within Our Ranks coming up the first weekend in November. Training for educators who want to speak professionally. We're excited about that. We just got another person just today who signed up. We're good with that. So we got a nice group.
This one's going to be a good group. It's going to be a good cohort. I think we have just a couple spots left is all. So time's closing up. So if you're thinking about it, now's the time to reach out.
Jump in. It's in San Antonio, Texas, y'all, right on the Riverwalk. If you've never been to San Antonio, it's beautiful. It's truly a retreat. Half day Friday, all day Saturday, half day Sunday. That way you can get back to school. That's why we do it over the weekend. So that way you can still get into school and do what's needed. This is what it's all about. If you're interested in speaking, training, consulting at all in K-12 in any way whatsoever, this is it. This is what you need to be a part of, and this is what you need to do. Just go to withinourranks.com for that. And you, other than teaching, you got a few other things. You got some things happening.
We're on our way to Florida, to Pensacola, Florida. We're working with a little school down there for integrated bundle options. So we get to see them throughout the year and do workshop and all the things with their teachers. So we're headed back there in September. And then, yeah, and we have a couple conferences coming up in October, November.
Yeah. And then when does your cohort start again? Didn't you have a cohort that you
Yeah, so the first one started August. So we have one started, and we're actually looking for a few teachers to fill another one because the first cohort filled up. So we're looking for the next one, and we can start that really anytime that we get enough teachers. So what that is if you're an educator in the classroom or an instructional facilitator, we help you build integrated units and talk about curriculum, how to integrate your content together, what to use, what not to use, experiences, and we just are with you all year long.
That's it. Beautiful. That level of support is just unheard of. That's just, you guys, look. Got to be a part of these cohorts that they're doing. This is the secret sauce. They broke the code. They figured it out. I'm telling you, that's what's going on. I got a conference in Sacramento coming up. I got another one in Georgia that's coming up. And I just got contacted about one in North Carolina from a speaking bureau. We're crossing our fingers. We're going to see what happens with that. So we got some stuff happening. And here's a little tizzle. Got another book coming out. It's right now it's intended to come out October 15th. It is the 10-minute classroom openers 6 to 12, because the first one's K to 5. This one is 6 to 12. So me and Tina Dietrich co-authored this one, so we're excited about that. More information will be coming about that as well. All right.
The first one was so great, so I'm excited for this second one to come out. It's gonna be great.
I'm excited about it too. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Yes.
All right, Meg. Hey, purposeful parenting. I think we did okay with it. I think hopefully everybody got some good information, and we may even circle back to this in another season or later on in the season or something like that, because this is so important, especially based off of some of our listeners. If they give us some additional ideas, we may have to circle back to it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a evolving topic right now. So
it is.
It'd be great. Yeah. Well, thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Meg. All right. Thanks, gang. I will see you guys, everybody, later at the next School Climate and Culture Show. Talk to you later.